Hey guys, good morning. Happy July 4th. This is Brett Fick, aka Fick Fitness on Instagram and YouTube. I just wanted to say hey to everyone today. We've got a great podcast lined up. Today, I want to talk about and dive into the choices that we make as men and women for the lifestyles we want versus the lifestyles that we actually are living in the real world. Um, we'll be looking at some hard data, discussing some of the realities of our behavior. And most importantly, we're going to create a game plan how we can overcome these things and start to make that psychic change and physical change in our lives that a lot of us are yearning for deeply. Um, whether you're struggling with overeating, time management, maybe it is you've got kids and you just don't know, how you can incorporate a fitness lifestyle into your busy life already, or maybe you just don't even know where to start. So I'm going to give you some guidance today on some of these things, and it's going to allow you to put together a game plan for yourself. And again, as you all know, I am a fitness coach online. I'm very affordable. If you decide at the end of my podcast that you ever want to contact me, I'll put my information below in the description. But yeah, let's get into it. So let's start with some sobering statistics. Obesity, right? According to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, the prevalence of obesity in the United States was 42.4% in 2017 and 2018. Now, you're probably thinking this is old data. It takes a long time to collect a lot of this data and process it. So, but that's nearly half of the adult population, which is so sad, right? America, we're kind of the laughing stock to other countries. If you go to other places like South America and Europe, like you really don't see as many obese people. You walk into a Target or a Walmart or wherever in the United States, you're going to see a lot of people who are struggling with major weight issues. And this leads to major risk factors, right? We're talking things like health conditions like heart disease, diabetes, certain cancers. And why is that? It's because your body is struggling daily to process everything you're putting in your body. And the reason why you're getting fatter and fatter and fatter is because you're abusing what's going into your body, and it's having to store the extra amounts of calories and fats and, carbohydrates and all these different things that people are just, basically consuming without a game plan. Eating without the knowledge of what it does to your body, I think is a very dangerous thing. A lot of people come to me and they say like, hey, how do I know, if this is going to make me fat or not? Or, I hear carbohydrates, if I eat too many of them, I'll get really fat. There's a lot of myths in the industry. Biohacking your body is really based on what body type that you are. So for someone who's an ectomorph versus a mesomorph, you're going to have different diet plans and different workout routines based on what your body's going to react to. But yeah, let's talk about physical activity, right? So the National Center for Health Statistics found that only 23% of Americans meet the recommended guidelines for aerobic and muscle strengthening activities. That's less than a quarter of the population, folks. What? People don't get out of the house. They don't work out as much anymore. On average, people only spend about 17 minutes exercising per day, which is far below the recommended 150 minutes of moderate intensity exercise per week. So on the flip side, the average American diet isn't helping the situation either, right? So it's a double-edged sword here. According to the USDA, the average American consumes about 3,600 calories per day. Now, I'm going to put this into perspective for you. When I work with my clients, I always times their body weight by 10. So if you're 210 pounds, you're eating 2,100 calories per day for your diet. If you're trying to lose weight, you need to be in a calorie deficit. So some basic math here. One pound of body fat is about 3,500 calories. So if we're losing on a deficit, let's say for someone who's 2,100 calories a day for their normal diet, if they want to lose weight and go backwards, they need to lose about 500 calories per day on that deficit. So which 7 days a week is 3,500. That's 1 pound of body weight loss per week. So in 10 weeks, you're going to be down 10 pounds. Now, I don't want to promise everyone that you're going to lose a guaranteed 10 pounds because when you step on the scale, muscle does weigh more than fat. So if we're incorporating a workout routine, some of my clients get very disappointed, and I have to work with them to tell them, hey, not all of this is based on weight, right? So I use the in-body machines. I like to look at skeletal mass, muscle mass, visceral fat, subcutaneous fat, and all these different metrics in order to really tell someone what their progress is in their weight loss journey. If I'm adding lean muscle, that's toning my body, right? So a lot of people think, oh, I want to get tone. Well, in order to get tone, you need to add muscle. Muscle is what creates tonality. That's what causes the nice curves in your arms and your triceps and your biceps and your quads and your calves. Like if that's your goal, you need to bulk and then cut. And if you're, too big, you need to cut, then bulk, right? So there's a process to all this, which is why your body type is so important. So the average American consumes 3,600 calories per day, which is well above the recommended, right? What do they say on the back of like most food labels is it's based on a 2,000 calorie diet, because that used to be pretty much what people would eat. But now we're having such high calorie, low nutrient foods that are entering into our shopping stores, and also just fast food in general has, I think, gotten really out of control. There's not a lot of scratch kitchens out there. I'll talk about that in a future podcast, like how to find good foods on the go or how to store good foods and bring them with you on the go. But this is a really big contributor to obesity. I think the low nutrient, high calorie dense foods are really starting to become a problem. And I think there needs to be a regulation on some of these foods. But let's dive deeper into the foods that are causing most of these problems. So fast food, sugary beverages, and of course, highly processed foods, in particular snacks. Little snacks with high calories, high sugars. People don't understand how much they can affect your diet. If you're normally, eating 2,500 calories of whole foods per day, but then you're adding about 1,500 calories more of sugary snacks and drinks, that's not good. The average sugary drink alone accounts for about 145 calories a day. And that's just saying you drink one. Some people drink 3 sodas in a day and expect to lose weight. It's not going to happen. High fructose corn syrup, not good, right? High fructose. Fructose is a carbohydrate, right? So when people talk about eating a lot of fruit too, I'm like, hey, fruit has fructose in it. Now, is it processed the same way? No, because it's got a lot of fiber in it most of the time. Or, some of the fruit we eat has a lower glycemic index, but some has a very high glycemic index. So what fruit you're putting in your body too does matter if you're trying to lose weight. There's some bodybuilders out there who say they don't eat any fruit because of that. They don't even want to risk it. But not only are these foods not only calorie dense and nutritionally poor, but they're leading to health issues. So certain things that we're putting in our body are causing people to get sick. And when you're sick, you don't feel good. And when you don't feel good, you don't want to go work out. You don't want to exercise. You don't want to be in the gym. You want to crave unhealthy foods when you're sick. I mean, we've all been laying in bed and wanted to eat something like a cookie or a sugary substance, right? So how do we counteract these issues? We need to develop a game plan for ourselves. So here are some actionable strategies that you can use. And I created a list here, and I'm just going to go over a few of these with you. So number 1, awareness and tracking. The first step to become aware of your habits is to start by tracking your food intake and physical activity. I have all my clients use MyFitnessPal. They log their food. I ask them to log water if they can too, because water intake is very important. But at least logging your food and understanding how many calories are going in your body every day and what your macros are, your proteins, your carbs, and your fats. I'm going to set certain macro goals for my clients. And a lot of these macro goals are going to be based around what body type the person is trying to achieve. So if somebody comes to me and says, hey, Brett, I'm a skinny guy. I'm looking to get jacked. I want big muscles. How can you get me there, right? We're probably going to lean more towards, in the beginning during a bulk, a higher carb intake, higher protein intake, and low fat intake. Over time, that may shift. When we go to a cut, we may go low carb, higher fats, and really high protein, right? So as your progress moves along, so will your diet. But There are many apps available other than MyFitnessPal, and they can provide insights for your eating patterns and activity levels, or simply just log on to Google or ChatGPT or YouTube and watch videos on people who are experts in this field and can give you the best advice. That is, if you have the time and energy to do that. For me, I've been learning this stuff over the last 10 plus, 20 plus years as an athlete. And, my whole family was full of athletes, and my brother is a kinesiologist, and we've got a good family history of just being very knowledgeable about the health and fitness industry. Number two, set realistic goals. Setting achievable goals is very important. A lot of people get so far-fetched with their goals. They're like, I'm going to lose 20 pounds in the next month. I'm like, good luck. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to burn yourself out. This isn't how quickly you can lose weight. It's how long you can keep the weight off. It's how long you can live that healthy lifestyle. Start small. Gradually increase those targets. Maybe your diet, instead of 500 calories per day on a deficit, we start at 200. Maybe it's half a pound a week, 250 calories per day. That's still a great goal. We can also aim to reduce your calorie intake through what types of foods that you eat. Like, some people crave certain foods, and I feel like just getting rid of that one food, that's a win. Maybe you were like me back in the day. I loved Oreos. I would wake up in the middle of the night and just crush Oreos. Bad news is that it raised my glycemic index so much, and insulin was pumping out of my pancreas so much that I started to get insulin resistance from eating too many sugary substances. And that's part of the reason why I went down this path to educate people more, is because no one was there to really teach me on what to eat and what not to eat. Like, what is a cheat meal? Is it a cheat day? No, it's a cheat meal, right? You still want to stay on that consistent diet. But yeah, even adding just 10 minutes extra of cardio per workout session, little goals like that can go a long way. Number three, prioritize nutrient-dense foods. Focus on whole nutrient-dense foods such as vegetables, fruits, lean proteins, and fibrous foods that help regulate your blood sugar and ease digestion. These foods provide essential nutrients without the excessive calories. That's really important, right? We want to get nutrient-dense food. Whole foods are typically the best. You'll hear people talk about like a paleo diet. The reason why that's so popular is because, regular food that's non-processed food doesn't come out of a can. You actually keep it in your fridge or your freezer and you cook it yourself, is going to have a lot more nutrients in it. Processed food loses nutrients during the processing stages. I mean, it is what it is. Certain foods, when you heat them up too much, they're going to lose nutrients. So another thing I recommend to people, if you don't know this, is before you cook a piece of food, look up what the average temperature is for it to start losing its nutrient density. So if it's something that has a low nutrient density burnout, I might eat it raw, instead, like carrots or spinach or whatever it is that you're having. The other thing to make sure that you do before you get on one of these diets and you start to go on these nutrient dense journeys, I would first look at your blood work. I would take a food sensitivity test, and I would also do a gastrointestinal bacteria panel, GI panel, to see what your gut health looks like. There are, microbacterias inside of your gut that can, cause you to be fatter or cause you to be skinnier. It's proven, scientifically proven, that there is a skinny bacteria in most skinny people's gut. And there's also a fat bacteria in most obese people's guts. So make sure to look at that. One thing that I do recommend is drinking a bulletproof coffee every morning. So MCT8 coconut oils in your coffee with unsalted grass-fed butter, and getting the MCT oils in your body will actually help increase those skinny bacterias. Number four, plan and prepare meals. Planning your meals ahead of time can make you basically have healthier choices and avoid temptations of things like fast food. I like to use my own meal prepping containers and just do everything in one day. Usually it takes me about an hour, maybe hour and a half max, but I can pretty much cook up to 7 days, even up to 10 days of meals Sometimes I'll even do 2-3 hours per session, and I'll freeze a lot of extra meals so I can just pull them right out of the freezer, pop them in the microwave. But I know that at least, even though it's being microwaved, I'm still getting food that's whole food that I made myself and it's not processed, right? There's a big difference there. I can control how much salt goes on it. I can control the sauces that I use and how many calories are in those sauces. But yeah, prepping your food, I would say on average, you're probably going to spend, if you cook it yourself, like $3 to $6 a meal. If you're ordering from an external company, it's like anywhere from like $7 to $11 per meal. Some of the brands out there are really good. Some of them are not good. So I recommend going online and reviewing some of these companies and getting feedback from people who have actually ordered them. YouTube's great for that. Number 5, I'd incorporate a lot more physical activity. So find ways to get outside. Whether it's at your lunch break, just go for a walk. Even if you work in a corporate office, maybe your lunch break's only 20 minutes. Hey, in 20 minutes, you can put in a lot of steps walking around a building. The average American is only walking about 3,000 to 4,000 steps per day, which is about 1.5 miles, 2 miles. But if you can do over 8,000 steps per day, you're going to likely drastically improve your body fat percentages over time. So I believe this number, for the average American too, is far less. I think a lot more people are starting to work from home and, not getting out of bed and getting ready every day. I mean, the movement is really what gets you going, right? So like just the habit of getting out of bed early, having to take your morning shower, brush your teeth, put on your deodorant, cook your breakfast, make your coffee. All these things require your body to utilize calories, which is energy. And, if people are just rolling out of bed and flipping open their laptop and not having to actually get ready for the day and just kind of rolling through their work day, that's really unmotivating. And those types of people are probably not going to, be as motivated to go outside and walk around the neighborhood when they're still in their pajamas. So that's just a recommendation of mine. Act like you're going to be at work, even if you work from home, still stay in that routine. Number 6, manage your stress and sleep. This one, I cannot talk enough about this one. Back before I got sober, which was about 4.5 years ago, I really struggled with insomnia. I would be out very late on the weekends. During the week, I was the 9 to 5 grinder. I would just work as hard as I could. And sometimes I'd even be in the gym, but, I was also out a lot and, excessively eating and drinking and, really just spiraling out of control when it came to my weight management. But what really hurt me the most was the lack of sleep. My body didn't have the energy it needed to heal itself. Your body, while you're sleeping, is utilizing whatever nutrients you're putting in your body and your macros to repair itself and to build muscle and to, give you the energy you need for the next day in order to operate. Part of this is practicing stress management. I like to meditate in the mornings and in the evenings. I think meditating is also prayer. So I'm a Christian. I do believe in praying as a form of meditation as well. Not like a 1-minute prayer. I mean, I'll sit on the side of my bed for, 5 to 10 minutes, just talking to my higher power. And I also, sometimes I'll just meditate in peace, or I'll put something on YouTube that's got like binary sounds to it. And just try and really lock myself into a good mental health state. I like Tony Robbins does this thing called priming. You can go onto his website or just Google Tony Robbins priming. And it takes about 10 minutes or so. But every morning I like to do this priming where I can actually get my mind into the right state of being, of gratitude. And it really helps me throughout the day. And then at night, I find my sleep to be better when I do these things because I'm not, having higher cortisol levels, and it's not going to contribute to weight gain because of it. If you don't get good sleep and you're struggling with insomnia, a nap. I know a lot of you are going, oh, I can't take naps, but I'm telling you, just close your eyes. And the more you do it, the faster you'll end up going to sleep for a nap. You don't want to get into too deep of a REM sleep from a nap. Otherwise, your body shifts into thinking it's going to bed for a long time, and then you wake up even groggier. So the key is finding a good 30 to 45 minute window. And Andrew Huberman talks about this on his podcast, but it really is an undervalued part of our daily work routine. I think if you have an hour lunch, even taking 20 minutes to close your eyes and rest your eyes if you had a bad night's sleep the night before is a very good idea. I've, I plan on opening my own businesses someday. And one of the things I've always talked about is I want to do a 4-day work week. I think people should be able to choose a certain day of the week that they want to take off. Maybe they have their kids on Wednesday or something, but putting in other 10 to 12 hour days outside of that, hard working days where they get a 1 hour lunch and incorporating at least like a nap room or something, or pods where people can go recharge for 30 minutes to an hour when they need to, so they can be more productive at work. And we found companies like Google and other tech companies actually have incorporated these nap rooms, and they found that it really did boost the overall production of their teams. So it's interesting to look at. Number 7, though, seek support. Too many people try and do this journey on their own. I don't recommend it. It's part of the reason why I made an affordable coaching program, was because I just truly want to help people. Seek help from your friends, your family, professionals. I recommend everybody joins a fitness group, or they work with a nutritionist or someone who can provide motivation and accountability. I currently help a handful of special clients, range from beginners to people who have never stepped into a gym. Some people that are fitness freaks and just want me to hold them accountable and observe their diets. But I always recommend seeking medical professional help, especially a doctor for your blood work and a dietitian for your meal plan. I can give sample meal plans and stuff, but really, again, you want to have everything customized based on your body's needs, and it's always good to get a second opinion. But I want us to target the right diet for your needs. So in order to know your needs, we need to understand your body. So I want to be very articulate on that. But yeah, I also recommend joining a community of like-minded people who have the same goals, if not just similar goals as you. And it's been a really effective thing for me over the years. I joined the JWX fitness community with Justin Wenzel and Karate Scotty and Dane and a bunch of these guys out in California. And I just found that the community that I've built with these guys who are online fitness coaches, and some of them are just, regular, life coaches, business coaches, things like that. But, we all lift each other up. And I find those types of communities are great for anybody who's looking to achieve any goals. So now that we've discussed some of the strategies to make change, let's address some of the specific challenges, right? So what are some of the challenges that people are struggling with? Number 1 on my list is overeating. I think if you struggle with overeating, you need to try to eat more mindfully, right? Be aware of what you're putting in your body. Look at the portion sizes. Look down on the plate. Look at it. Does it look like it's a lot of food? Your brain is telling you, yes, that looks like a lot of food because it doesn't need that much food. I don't know if you guys have ever watched like the movies like Castaway or some of these movies, or watched, where the guy's dropped in the desert, survival, stuff, and, Bear Grylls, but your body can actually operate on a lot less food than you would think. It's pretty amazing how our bodies can go into ketosis, which means that your body converts from absorbing carbs for its main energy source to fats, right? And your body starts to produce ketones out of your liver, which are going to utilize the fat in your body, specifically visceral fat, brown fat, subcutaneous fat. And it's going to utilize that in order to give you energy. And that's what will contribute to weight loss. Hence why getting into a lot of steps per day is important, right? You want your body to be in that fat burn zone. But portion control is crucial. I like to use the palm theory. If it's bigger than the palm of my hand, it's probably too much. I personally like to use a scale when starting a diet. I like to know exactly how many ounces or grams of each portion that I'm putting on my plate. And then I plug it in again to my Fitness Pal, and I make sure it fits underneath my macros. So if I'm looking to eat 250 grams a day of protein, and I know that I'm having 50-gram protein shakes twice a day, so that means I need 150 grams of whole food, protein. That's about 50 grams per meal. So if I'm weighing out eggs, I need 50 grams of protein in my eggs, right? So I'm going to look up in my Fitness Pal, eggs, I'm going to put in 50 grams, right? And see how much that weighs. I also like to log my water intake. Having enough water in your body is not only going to help you with digestion, but it's also going to help you with your mental health. Um, we're going to do a full podcast on water and why it's important and what times to drink water and what times not to drink too much water. For example, like early in the morning, you shouldn't drink too much water because it dilutes all your stomach acid on an empty stomach, which can lead to digestion issues. But yeah, we'll hop more into that here in the future. But the other issue that I see people having major problems with is time management, especially people who have children. One of the biggest excuses I get from people is, I just don't have the time. I don't know. I have my kids in the morning. I take them to school. I got to work. I got to do this. I got to do that. By the time I'm done putting my kids to bed, it's 8 p.m. at night. It's like, hey, man, it is what it is. Suck it up. If it's 8 p.m. when your kids go to bed, well, 8 to 9 o'clock, you're going to be working out. You don't like working out at night? Well, if that's your only time, boo-hoo, too bad. We're going to force you to do it. Because without taking action, you're never going to seek change, right? So if that's the only window that you have, then that's the time we're going to have to do it. Or you're going to have to wake up earlier, right? Before the kids even get up. I have clients that get up at 4:30 in the morning to start their workout by 5. And their kids are up at 6:30, and they're getting them ready for school. And that's it. That's how they start their day every day, 6 days a week, 5 days a week, whatever it is. But I hate seeing, families that don't eat well either. Or like a dad who's obese, and I look over at their children and their children are obese. Like, that's one of my pet peeves with this world. I feel really bad for a lot of these kids because they have no control over what the parents are feeding them or what's being fed to them at their school systems. I think we really need to make a change in this culture for healthier food options. That's something that's really important. It's on my radar. I hope to get very rich in the future. And with my money, I am going to try and make a positive impact in the health and fitness community through major changes in our food and diet. Another issue I find people struggling with, and they come to me and they message me on Instagram or other platforms, and they're like, "Hey, Brett, I want to do this. I'm so motivated. I'm ready. I've hit rock bottom. I'm so tired of living this lifestyle. I just don't know where to start." Right? You've got the fire burning inside of you. You just don't even know where to begin. Again, this is why having a structured plan, using an app that tells you, what to work out each day. Is it a push day? Is it a pull day? Is it a leg day? Using the apps to count your food, right? And your calories and your macros. Having guidance from a professional. I'm not even saying I'm a professional. I'm just someone who's been down that road. I lost 50 pounds. I put on almost 40 pounds of muscle. I've gone through skinny phases of my life, fat phases, jacked phases, I guess you could say, where I was too muscular almost. And then finding a healthy median to what works for you. You have to have a game plan, right? If you're a business owner, you have a whiteboard, a vision board, a mind map. You can do these things. You just don't do it with your personal physical health. You prioritize everything else ahead of your own personal health, which is a lot of people because people want to be unselfish, right? They want to take care of other people, specifically their spouse or their children or their family members, their employees. That's a very common thing. And it's not saying that you're doing it wrong, but you are kind of doing it wrong, right? Your health has to be priority number one, because without it, you can't take care of your children. You can't take care of your employees. If you're in the hospital sick or you're dying on your deathbed, none of this stuff matters anyways. People say, "Oh man, it costs money to do these things." Well, what's a priority? All those Amazon things you're ordering online and the random stuff you don't need, or the memberships to certain things that you don't need. Hey, instead of subscribing to 20 channels of Netflix and Prime and Hulu and all these different things, why don't you stop those programs and invest in yourself? Now, a lot of you have the extra money to do things, but you tend to eat out all the time. Okay, don't eat out, 2 times during the week. That saves you what? At least $100 to $300 nowadays. Investing in yourself has to be the number one priority, and that comes with investing in your health. What's going to be harder for you? Is it now when you're in the gym? or later when you're in the hospital bed? Is it now when you are on that Stairmaster or that elliptical? Or is it later on when you have open heart surgery because you have cardiovascular disease? Or you're on Lasix and all these prescriptions, and your blood sugar's messed up. You're dealing with diabetes, and now you can't eat certain foods, and it's just not worth it. I feel like people overthink like the hard now, because the hard in the future sounds a lot worse. I don't want to be sick. I don't want to be suffering in the future. At my old age, I want to thank myself in my younger years for taking such good care of my body, feeding myself right, educating myself about my own health, and being able to be in control of my life and my health. That's what I want to do. In conclusion, today, the choices we make and the actions we take, they play a crucial role in our health and well-being. By becoming aware of these habits, we can set realistic goals, and making small, consistent changes, we can achieve lifestyles that we actually desire. Remember, it's not about perfection or progress. The progress is a byproduct of actually taking the action and doing these things. You're never going to get perfection, but striving towards perfection is what some people like to do. Some people are overachievers. We're not all like that, though. Little progress, though, is good, right? As long as you know you're moving the needle in the right direction, that's what matters. Maybe in the future, right, when you start to gain momentum, you can move that needle even further. But yeah, I wanted to thank everybody for joining me today on my Alpha Revival podcast. I've got books on Amazon that I'm coming out with. I've got 4 released right now. Check them out. Just type in on Amazon, Brett Fick, BRETTFICK, and all my books should pop up. They're typically going to be anywhere from like 60 to 120 pages, and they're going to cover a lot of different topics that you might want to be reading about in order to learn about how to maintain a good, healthy lifestyle. But yeah, stay motivated, stay healthy, and keep striving for excellence. I'll talk to you soon on our next podcast. Thank you.